Learning to talk with your guardian angel, I think, is the first step before talking with your permanent personality. Your guardian angel is easier to talk to. The permanent personality, sometimes not so much, because it's harsher. In a sense, it's it's it makes us do things that we don't want to do. But it has a purpose. It has a purpose in making us do things we don't want to do. But that's our nature. The guardian angel is more understanding with us. The guardian angel is like trying to guide us to do better. The permanent personality just puts us into a challenge and says, deal with it. In a sense like that. But the guardian angel is like, let me stay with you here and kind of help you out. So it's easier to talk with the guardian angel. Once you start asking questions, it's your guardian angel that's going to hear and talk with you first. The permanent personality, on the other hand, will hear everything. But most of the time, the permanent personality is happy with you, what you're doing. Whatever you're living, whatever you're going through, it's happy because it's receiving your experience. Whether it's hard or easy, the permanent personality is just receiving your experience and learning. And it knows that it will never die. It knows it will never die. It knows it's eternal. And you're just there to live what it can't. To live a story, to die. To live, love, want to live, have a family, attach yourself to your loved ones, and not want to leave. But then, no, you have to die and come back. Right? The permanent personality can't do it. Can't do it. The permanent personality can't live what we're living through. It knows too much. It sees too much. It can do too much. It doesn't understand the limitations of life. So we have to live the limitations of life for it. The sicknesses, the starvation, the pain, the sadness, all of that. It wants us to live these things so that it can feel these things, so that it can live these things through us. And eventually, we want to be able to look back at our own permanent personality and say, I know who you are. I know who I am with you. And we're going to overcome death together. I'm going to learn the lessons for you. I'm going to understand life like you. I'm going to see life like you do. And at that point in time, you overcome death. This is the goal of a mystic or of a spiritual seeker, to overcome death in that sense. And it's a long journey. It's a long journey. But that's kind of what we need to do. So the pain we feel it's not our choice. We don't get to choose where we're born. We don't get to choose how we're going to die. We don't get to choose how we're going to get sick. We don't get to choose if somebody robs us or steals from us or causes us pain. We don't get to choose that. But the permanent personalities are choosing those things for us. It's kind of crazy.
Yes. So it's kind of planning the karma, what we would call karma.
Right.
Mm.
The permanent personality doesn't feel the karma, but it knows that it has to resolve the karma. So it creates another temporary personality to resolve the karma and watches what happens.
What is bad because a new personality that has nothing to do what the previous one did has to suffer for it.
Not to say that it has nothing to do with it. It's a product of it. So
Yeah.
that the new personality is created in order to live through the next step of the
Ah,
journey.
do you remember that guy that I said that I hear his channelings? He said that we can say and put a stop in the karma. We should say that our karma with something that we identified is over. We should do the say these commands to stop it.
And you can do that.
Mm.
But it takes so much concentration that you have to create elementals that are maybe 3 times stronger than the elemental of the karma. Because that elemental of the karma has already bonded with other elementals and created like this network. So if you come in with this one thought saying no, the elemental of your karma is already woven into the fabric of your subconscious. And it's a part of your subconscious. So it's hard to take out because it's connected to other parts of yourself in a way that you don't realize. That even the good parts of you are connected to the bad karma. So if you rip out that bad karma, it can take away good parts of you too, the way they're kind of interwoven together. So this is why the big spiritual practice of Stylianos was introspection. At the end of every day, you look back on your day and you look at what you did, what you said, and then you think, what what did I say? What happened? Or what should I say? Should I have said something different? And you start to unwind your subconscious. And the key though to the introspection, to looking within on what you lived that day, the key is to see your life from the perspective of the permanent personality, observing yourself. Like put yourself above yourself, watching you do, looking down on you, watching yourself do the things that you did. Like you're observing yourself. Because if you start to look at your life from your own personality, your temporary personality, you might have feelings like, oh, I'm a bad person, or I'm a good person, or I shouldn't have done that, I feel guilty, or I should have known better, right? So you start criticizing yourself or building yourself up with arrogance or whatever. The idea is just to kind of separate yourself from what you did that day and just observe yourself to understand what you were feeling, what you were doing, and get that higher awareness. And then as you look back on the actions of the day, observing yourself doing them, talking, whatever, you get a sense of who you are. And you may feel like in that moment I felt sadness. So you observe yourself. What did you do with that sadness? How did it affect you? It's like instant forgiveness and it's instant understanding. Just to say, I'm just watching my life. I'm just observing my life. You give yourself that moment to separate and just observe your life so that you see your emotions as part of the life that you're living and you see your words as part of the life that you're living and who you're with. And just recognizing that's who I am at the moment. That's the story I'm living. Is there something I could do here to live better? So you give yourself that higher awareness of just observing your life. And then you come back into your body, go to sleep, wake up, and you have that awareness of being able to observe yourself. And it gives you more control over what you're feeling and where those feelings are coming from and how you're reacting to the world. And
Yes.
have you ever done a practice like that where you observe yourself?
Yes, not I believe I did 3 times only. Yeah. But it was very interesting. Very interesting. I judged myself. Why did I say so? Did I say something? Why did I behave that way? And then I start going to why, and then I figure out something from that was not uh, obvious to me. But then I took conscious of like a hurt that I had, like a trauma, or that was uh, making me behave that way, or saying that things, or thinking that way. So very interesting.
And eventually, that's how we're going to live life. Knowing that we're just in a body, there's things happening around us, we're reacting to them. But once we get that higher understanding and that higher vision of being able to observe ourselves, we live differently because
And it,
we develop that higher understanding in our daily life.
yes, and cures ourselves, because that kind of behavior I didn't repeat anymore, because I now I have conscious why I did that, and I understood, so I don't do it anymore. So really nice.
There are people who do that day after day, year after year. Every single day for years, they do that. I get to the point where I have to be aware of myself constantly during the day. And at night, there's so many other things going on. I don't take that moment just to concentrate on that. So during the day, I'm observing my feelings, I'm observing my actions in the moment. That's where I'm at.
Yes, it's better this way. Yeah, I stopped because it's usually at night I'm tired and all that, and do not have time. And it's a tiring exercise, né? Because you need to review since you woke up, and then up to the night, and think about every action. So yeah, it's not easy. But
It's not easy.
yeah, maybe split it in several times during the day. It's much better and uh, easier to do. Yeah.
I had been reading and studying about the permanent personality for years. And then in a moment, it wasn't my decision, it was the permanent personality's decision. it decided to present itself to me. It only, it was like 20 seconds, 10, 20 seconds. But hey, I instantly knew what was happening because I had prepared myself. I had been developing my awareness to understand that moment. For another person, they could have easily gone crazy. Easily. They would have been they would have been completely freaking out. What is this? What is going on? I don't understand this. And they could lose their mind because they weren't prepared. So the way to prepare ourselves is to think about these things, read about these things, talk about these things, prepare ourselves, and then in that moment, the permanent personality will come in and say, "Okay, here I am. Okay, there you are. Now I see you." So it's no big deal. But and that's the thing, is that we have to prepare ourselves, keep learning, keep asking questions, keep communicating, and keep developing our emotions and our awareness so that when these really special moments come, we can understand them and we don't freak out. And we can handle all that movement of energy that transforms our awareness. We can move with it. I know, in that instance, when I'm sitting there with my permanent personality, I began to think, I don't want this to end. This is too cool. This is too cool. I don't want this to end. But the permanent personality was like saying, okay, I got to go now. Wait, I'm like thinking, wait, but wait, just maybe a couple minutes more, couple. No, it's not my decision. It was enough. It was enough right there. That's what I was ready for. That's all I got. So then it's a matter of preparing myself for the next time and saying, okay, don't just give me 10 seconds now. Give me more time. I got some more questions. Because I had all these questions I wanted to ask at that moment in time. Nope. Now's not the time for those questions. Bye-bye. Right? So it's like, wait a second, wait. But it's enough to get you to start thinking about what life really is and who we really are. And so we have to keep preparing ourselves, keep learning. And the spherical pattern is just an important part to all this because it's that core that holds everything together and allows us to live a life. But there's all these other things going on around it of permanent personalities and souls, etheric connections, strings of light connecting one body to another body, the egg shape that we take, and we live within that egg shape with our consciousness. It shows so many other things, and the seed of life holding all of our memories and our emotions and our development. It's this beautiful, wonderful story that just keeps developing and developing and developing. We're not going to die. We are not going to die. Nobody we know is going to die. They're always going to be there somewhere, forever. Even as a memory, they're going to be there. And we continue on living more lives and knowing more people and having more experiences and more stories. It's just the way it is. We're never going to die. We just keep living stories. So really the only thing we can do is live the stories as best we can to raise our consciousness. That's kind of all it comes down to.
Yes.
Talk with our body. Like you say, talk with our body. Look at our karma and say, I understand this karma and I'm going to assimilate it into who I am. I'm going to own it. I'm going to look at this and say, hey, I understand this part of myself now. Is this going to affect me? Well, if I have control in my awareness over this karma, I can change it. I can reprogram it. I can say, look, I know where you're coming from. I know you're a part of me. How can we work together to move forward? And this is where we want to go. We want to go to this type of life to where I'm feeling better and I'm loving people more and I feel better. And can you come with me with this? Can you understand where we're going with this? So you begin to talk with that karma. And in talking with the karma, you form this bond. And so you start to network it into your spiritual growth. Instead of just trying to deny it and get rid of it and saying, go away, get away from me, right? You say, look, you're part of my experience. Let's work together to keep moving forward. So you want to experience a few things in order to fulfill yourself. And maybe these are things that I really don't want to do. So we have to come to an agreement. Because in some ways, what you want to do is something we don't need to do. We don't need to have that experience. And I'll tell you why. And then you start talking to your bad karma and involve it in your spiritual growth. And then you can overcome it. It will grow with you because it's living with you. And that's kind of the science of this. It's like a cell in your brain. You can't just take out a cell from your brain. It's in your brain, surrounded by a skull, by a big bone. You can't just reach in and pull it out. Yeah, mystics can do that, but that's not something we can really do. So it's like, okay, I have this one cell in my brain that's misfiring. So what do I do? Okay, let's talk with it. Find out what's going on. And then it will heal. I remember a story of a hypnotherapist. A person walked in and had a problem with their spine. The nerve connections weren't going through their spine correctly, so they were kind of somewhat paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
And so the hypnotist did the little hypnotic technique, opened up their mind a little bit, and began to talk about the elasticity of the nervous system and how the nerves can find different pathways. So if one pathway is stopped and broken, the nerves will find other different pathways to follow through and be able to keep going. And that way, if there's a block in one nerve, and so the hypnotherapist started to implant these thoughts into the consciousness of this person now in a hypnotic state.
Mm-hmm.
And the hypnotherapist kept talking and then all of a sudden said, okay, 1, 2, 3, we're done. And the person kind of woke up and said, huh? So it's just like very natural. And the person felt their back was healed, and they just got up and walked out. It's that same idea is that, okay, obviously there was still that break in the
Mm-hmm.
spinal column, but the body, through its own consciousness in that moment of realizing, hey, I can find different pathways. In that moment of a hypnotic state, the body found different pathways to go around that problem in the spine instantly, perfectly, and was able to get up and walk. That's what we want to do with our karma, is say, there's ways to work around this and bring it along, and it can move with us.
Mm-hmm.
And so the karma isn't something that holds us back. It can still be there, but we're working around it and blending it into our experience to move with us. Say, come on,
Yes.
come on. You're not going to hold us back here because we have our consciousness is elastic. There's so many things we can do. There's so many ways of moving our consciousness. The creativity is infinite with our angels. The angels can find different ways to move pathways through our body. We can do the same with karma. And so the karma is with us, but it's not holding us back. It's not creating pain for us. We've been able to live around it and recognize it's there, but realizing we can live, we don't have to live through our karma. We can live around our karma.
Mhm.
And it's like just recognizing it's there, but freeing the body, freeing our consciousness to grow, to move normal. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yes. And I think this is the mechanism of what we call miracles.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, really nice.
And a lot of these things are done by the permanent personality and the guardian angel, working with the angels, working in our body. Is they're doing things beyond our conscious control. But with introspection, we can we can become aware of our karma because our karma is directing our words, directing our actions, directing our desires, directing our decisions. So when we begin to understand why we want to do certain things, we begin to identify where that karma is. And then we can say, okay, there's karma there making us do things that maybe we should not do or we don't really want to do. So I can identify the karma, and this karma will lead me into a bad situation in the future. Let's say, let's say there's karma to have fun, right? Somebody just wants to have fun. If they begin to become aware of that karma, maybe it's like their fun at the expense of somebody else. Is there a word in Portuguese like libertinaje?
Uhum. Yes. Libertinagem.
Yeah, so libertad, liberdade,
Uhum.
is like that freedom to live. But when it becomes libertinage, that's when your freedom starts hurting other people. And so that becomes karma. So the thing is to talk with your karma and say, okay, you want freedom, but I don't want to hurt other people. So we have to balance this together. We're going to have fun, but not hurt other people, which means the kind of fun we have is going to be healthy fun. And then the karma is like, I don't know. I want to have more fun than that. I want something really exciting, right?
Uhum.
Something that really pumps my adrenaline. And then you say, well, karma, that's going to hurt other people. We don't do that anymore. We're going to have plenty of fun in a healthy way, right? So it's like
Uhum.
so it's like you have to talk with your karma and come to an understanding and say, let's make this healthy fun really exciting. But we're not going to hurt anybody. We're actually going to be taking care of other people. We're going to be making other people happy. We're going to be forming good friendships, healthy friendships, honest friendships. Yeah. And so the karma's like, all right. And then when you really begin to enjoy forming healthy relationships, and the karma's like, well, this isn't too bad. And then the karma has healed through this process of saying, look, I know what you want, but we have to create something that's healthy here. So you didn't get rid of your karma, you made it a part of your experience.
Yes.
And that's the way to go. Because that's what the permanent personality wants us to do. The permanent personality will never forget anything. The permanent personality will never allow your karma to go away. No, there's a purpose for that to be there. The only answer is to work with it. Because the permanent personality is not capable of forgetting anything. It it has to remember everything that you do, everything that you feel. Nothing is forgotten ever. So there's no way to get rid of your karma. You can deny it. You can push it off to the side, but maybe in your next life it'll come out. Sometime. The only way to deal with it is to talk with it now. And you just take that one step farther and say, talk with your karma, talk with your past lives, talk with your subconscious. It's the same idea.
Yes. Great.
So it's really cool to talk with you about these things because you're growing and learning about these things. And you're interested and you pick up all this information, and that's wonderful. To take in so much information and to have so much contact of eventually you want to be able to judge, discern is the better word, discern what is the good information, what's really going to help you, what's going to help you grow, and what's going to make sense for you. That's what you really want to do. So in learning so much, you begin to you're able to compare what one person says, what another person says, what another person says, what you're feeling, what you're growing through. You're able to compare, and it just allows you to be able to think more and more and more and more. And thinking can be a long process to understand something, but you need more information. All the information you can get is the best way to go. Because then, with more information, you're able to come to a better decision. You're able to understand things so much that it's like, okay, now I know what's real.